Now moving on to a segment that I think everyone's pretty excited for, previewing Feast Week, which is the week where you have all these MTEs going on.
One of the best weeks of the year.
Yes, sir. Just basketball all
Or
week,
to it.
basketball all day. Should be super exciting. It's already kind of started already. You have some of these tournaments already going on, but this is the real meat of the Feast Week this upcoming week. Um, we're gonna preview some games that we lined up. Select few games we lined up, which should be really intriguing. To start off, we're going with a heavyweight in the Players era, Alabama versus Gonzaga. I know Evan's big Gonzaga fan. What are your guys' thoughts on this game?
This is a fun basketball game. Like every Alabama game is. Both teams are top 20 in adjusted offensive efficiency. Zags are also top 10 in the defense, at least on Torvik. Up and down, I think a lot of scoring. Alabama's battle tested where Gonzaga's played at least like some quality teams, but they haven't played like a top 25 team yet. They haven't played anything that could be considered quad one. I don't think it depends on how Creighton shakes out.
They
But
played Crane. They played Crane when they were 23rd, I think.
yeah, but like I don't think Creighton in reality is a top 25 team. I think those just kind of just baked in
Yeah.
preseason expectations. They haven't done anything to earn that so far this year. They
hmm
didn't look it against the Zags. So I think this is their first like big test where Alabama's had some.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see at least like first half while both teams are kind of feeling each other out on how that pans out. But this is the game of the week in my mind. I think like Anthony said, it's going to be a shootout. At least that's my prediction.
Isn't this tomorrow?
It is tomorrow.
It
It
is,
is
yeah.
tomorrow,
We got a
right?
big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating good and it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Whoa. Yes,
But
sir.
yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Gonzaga looks really good this year. They're a very, very deep team this year. They have like almost like 10 legit dudes that can score. So they just currently switched up their
Hmm.
starting rotation. Tyron Grant Foster is now in the rotation, along with their freshman guard from Spain, who's been playing really well for them. But yeah, Gonzaga's looking great, and then Alabama again has been looking great so far. Guards have been looking awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to this game. Obviously, I'm going with the Zags. I'm a Zags fan, so yeah, definitely going to be glued into this game. So
Yeah, you guys mentioned it already. Like, I mean, I'm intrigued to see like Alabama's very pesky, quick guards versus that Gonzaga stifling front court. Yeah, Braden Huff, Graham Ige. That should be super intriguing. And then, like you mentioned, Evan, Gonzaga is super deep. I don't really know. You know what you have in Tyron Grant Foster and Adam Miller, but I don't know really what to expect yet from their backcourt besides that. But I think we'll
mhm.
learn a lot this week, and I'm super intrigued. This matchup should be a really great matchup to kick off a great week of basketball. Um, and the next one we're going on to, going to talk about Michigan, a team that we already mentioned some of our concerns with them in the last episode. They have their first big test of the season coming up in the Players Era tournament. They got San Diego State and Auburn. You know, not elite teams, but still some Power Five good opponents. What are your guys' thoughts on maybe Michigan's outlook for this week?
I think the San Diego State game is intriguing because what I spent a lot of time talking about last week with Michigan was the turnovers. San Diego State is a team, at least so far this year, who loves forcing turnovers, but they also turn the ball over an insane amount as well. They're sub 300 in the country in their turnover rate, but then they're top 15 in forcing them. So chaotic. And I think it's gonna be like a little bit of a chaotic game. It's gonna be a weird game. Both teams I feel like kind of play slow and are strongest at the defensive end, but then I think both teams are gonna turn the ball over a ton, and it's gonna be like a messy, ugly game. Um, I'm worried about San Diego State just because of like that Troy game. Going to double
Yeah.
OT with Troy um, at home, and So it's, are they good? I don't know. But then I mean, there are other two bye games. Long Beach State had 45 points. Like I don't care who you're playing. Like usually we don't see someone score a sub 50 often. Torvik projects this to be like a 78-71 game, which I think I could see that, like low 70s, high 60s final score. Um, it's a weird game. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
Uh,
Yeah. Again, like we mentioned in the rundown, this is again Michigan's first big test, and again they've really turned the ball over a lot over these past couple of games. And I really think this plays a lot on how Elliot Cadeau is going to play because he's been a turnover machine. Oh my gosh, he's had 8 turnovers, and I think back-to-back games, I think, or something like that. So he's been turning the ball over a lot. So we'll see if he'll clean it up for Michigan. So I'm really intrigued how Michigan's going to perform against these teams because they were really active. They were one of the more active teams in the transfer portal this year. So we'll see what happens with Michigan. I'm excited for both these teams. I think matchups will be great. And yeah, definitely a lot of eyes on Michigan this week for sure. So
right. I think in terms of this game, I think you guys hopped on it already. I think this is the game where I'm really intrigued by because like you mentioned, Brendon, as San Diego State, they like to really slow it down, play defense. I'm interested to see how Magoon Guath, SDSU is really one of the best centers in the country. I'm interested to see how he will play against Morris Johnson and Daymara, Michigan's huge front court. I think, like you guys mentioned it, this should be a really slow game, a slow tempo game, ugly game. But this one's an intriguing one. I think SDSU wins this one, but that'll be interesting. Like you mentioned, Evan, it's kind of resting on the shoulders of Elliot Cadeau if he can take care of the ball.
yeah,
And Michigan's second game moving forward, they got Auburn, who was also an intriguing team that we've kind of been harsh on so far. But they just played a Houston team super close. So they've been kind of volatile. But then the opening game of the season, Bethune-Cookman went to overtime. So I was wondering what your guys' thoughts on this one is.
Those are two teams who came in with the highest expectations that have struggled the most in their bye games. But like you mentioned, Auburn just played Houston really tough, so I don't know. Like straight up, I don't know. I know you noted that Keyshawn Hall
Yeah.
might be out. If he's out, I don't give Auburn much of a chance. If he's in, I definitely think Auburn can pull it off. I don't like just those are two teams where I feel like they've been very volatile. They're gonna play up to the caliber of an opponent and also play down. They just are obsessed with playing close games. It doesn't matter against who. So I think it'll be close. It'll come down to late. If it comes down late, Auburn, if Keyshawn Hall plays, they have, I think, the best scorer in the game. I don't know who Michigan will turn to if it's a 1-2 possession game with 2 minutes to go. You try to get down to your big, see who can score, but they don't have like, what, you're gonna trust Elliot Cadeau? I don't know. I wouldn't, but that's kind of what they have to do. So I think if I had to pick, I'd pick Auburn, assuming they're healthy, but that's assuming they're healthy.
Gotcha.
yeah, like you touched on, Preco. These teams really look like they play up and down to their competition. So I think will be a good game, close game, maybe even a high scoring game. I think it could be. But yeah, like you mentioned, Keyshawn Hall might not be playing this game, right? You said.
Right. I think his status is up in the air, but yeah.
So I think I'd still lean towards Michigan, but Tahad Pettiford legacy game? Question mark? Question mark? Maybe. So we'll see.
Hey, yeah. I mean, he's had high expectations this season. This would be the time to show it. But I think
Yeah.
you guys touched upon it. I think, like you said, Evan, I think this one should be kind of like the opposite of STSU game. This one could be like an up and forth, up, back and forth, up and down game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if Keyshawn Hall is healthy, I think this doesn't really favor Michigan. I think because when you have a guy like Keyshawn Hall and Tahad Pettiford, guys who can get downhill, I think because he's one of the best at getting to the free throw line. I think if he's gonna play, which I hope he does, but we'll see. If he were to play, he could really give Michigan a ton of problems. Just go downhill, against Michigan's bigs. Just draw fouls to get them in foul trouble. If he doesn't play, it's really a toss up. But I think this game relies on Keyshawn Hall and if he plays, but it should be a really back and forth game, intriguing game. Now moving on to another game, I think, which could be a really great game, but the opposite, kind of a slower paced game. Houston, Tennessee in the Players Era tournament. Um, Two really great programs that have been really consistent these past couple of years. Two programs that want to play defense, want to slow down the game. What are your guys' thoughts on this game?
This game is going to be played. It's going to be a fist fight played in the mud. Torvik projects a 66-63 Houston win. Very rare you see a projected score in the 60s, and that's just because both of these teams are so defensively sound. Especially I feel like both of their issues when you get to like March is they can't blow teams out because they can't score. And in Houston has had just big time play from the freshman Kingston Flemings, which is like I think he was anticipated to be good, but not nearly as good as he's been. Then Emmanuel Sharp, another freshman Isaiah Harwell has played a while, and you have Tugler and Milos Uzan. So they have guys who have played in big time games. Tennessee is led by a freshman and Nate Amet. I think it's gonna be an ugly game. It's especially like with it happening in November. Like both of the offenses are still figuring things out, and whoever wins, it's gonna be by less than 5.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a rematch from the Elite Eight matchup from last year against Houston and Tennessee, where Houston came out of that with the victory. Yeah, like you said, I think this will be a very defensive game. I haven't really got a chance to really watch a lot of Tennessee basketball this year, but Nate Almet is another top freshman. I know he's a bad man for the Volunteers, so be on the lookout for him. And if you like defense, Cooper Burns, I know you like defense. This is probably a game for you to watch. You can also Tennessee hate watch, so tune into this one. But yeah, this should be a good one.
This should be. I agree. I think, like you guys touched on it already. Tennessee, like, I really haven't got a good read on them to be honest. Like, but because like led by a freshman Nate Ament, and then I don't know, really haven't got a good read. But I'm excited for this matchup. Like you said, Brendon Kingston Flemings has been really good. I thought Uzon has been kind of disappointing so far, but Flemings has really stepped up. I mean, I'm interested to see if Uzon could step up. Um, but yeah, we'll see. This should be a really interesting matchup. Like you said, it's gonna be a dogfight.
And reminder that last time Tennessee played Houston, like Evan said, they only scored 50 points. So I don't know if Tennessee's offense is going to be able to figure out Houston. And I'm sure, Tennessee, they remember that they want a chance at Houston again. So yeah, it's going to be a dogfight.
Yes, sir. Sure. Now moving on to bit of a different pace, an exciting game. I think that kind of going on under the radar. Battle over the sleeper teams, two sleeper teams in our draft of last episode. Iowa versus Ole Miss in Palm Springs. What are you guys' thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think for this game, I think I'm going to go with who the best player on the floor is going to be, and I think that's Benit Sturts for Iowa. He's a great guard. He's playing for his pops there at Iowa, and yeah, I think Iowa's going to get this one done against Old Miss. So that'll be a good sleeper game to watch.
Yeah, what Scott had picked Ole Miss for his sleeper, one of his sleepers, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I have Iowa. So I mean, I had to go with Iowa, but
Mm.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see Iowa against like real competition. See how well that offense runs, if it's capable of running against a high caliber opponent. Ole Miss's defense isn't anything outstanding, but it's better than what they've been playing. So I'm excited. I'm very excited to see Iowa face a real test to kind of see if I'm on base at all in my thoughts, or if I'm a fool for picking them as sleeper and the stock. Like maybe this will be the test on if I'm on the right train.
That's right. Hey, two really good coaches in this matchup: Ben McCollum, Chris Beard. That'd be an interesting one. I don't really
Hmm.
have too much thoughts, but Iowa, they have a really intriguing offense. It's kind of by committee. They share the ball so well. It's really a really fun watch. But yeah, it should be a really fun one. I think whoever wins this game, I think they will win this tournament. In my opinion, but it should be a really fun matchup. Um, Moving on to another really intriguing game, kind of an under the radar game. Um, one team that Scott's been super high on, Indiana. They'll play Kansas State later this week. It's at Indiana. I think it's a really intriguing game because you have two really elite players in PJ Haggerty for Kansas State and then Tucker DeVries for Indiana. Two really elite wings. That I'm interested to see how that matchup pairs out. But what are you guys' thoughts on this one?
I'll let Evan go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, like you said, this is going to be a game where these teams can absolutely shoot the lights out. Again,
Mhm.
PJ Haggerty for Kansas State, great player, could have all conference, whatever it's called. I can't think of the word, but
Yeah.
be on the list. Same with Tucker DeVries. He is
Right.
really good, but if I had to pick, I'd probably go with Indiana because I remember Tucker DeVries played Gonzaga in the Battle for Atlantis quarterfinal when he was with West Virginia, and he gave him absolute hell. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Indiana in this game, but
Yeah.
this will be a great game.
Indiana
Mm.
is 32nd in terms of 3-point shooting, and then Kansas State is ninth. So this should be
Wow.
like a shootout. So sorry, what were you going to say, Brendon?
No, I didn't realize they were that high.
Oh,
They've been shooting it that well, but I think it's a fun the one-on-one matchup between Haggerty and DeVries is really fun. I'm excited for that. Just the game within the game. Haggerty's been outstanding. Um, Kansas State lost by one in Nebraska the other day,
mm,
but Haggerty, he had 27, and then also was able to get it done with 7 assists, which I don't think we've really seen his playmaking peak like that before. I think Indiana's like the better overall team, but Haggerty's a guy where like he kind of gives you a chance against anyone on the floor. If depending on how he plays, which they're Kansas State, the Wildcats are a total wild card this year in my
yeah,
mind, and um, always worth watching anytime they're playing anyone good because you never know who could go down to them. So yeah,
yeah. I think you guys pretty much said it all already. It should be a really fun matchup between two really elite players, and then, like you said, Brendon, even adding on to Kansas State, Jerome Tang is also a very interesting coach to watch. His personality wise too. Now moving on to a game between two heavyweights. A game that I'm really intrigued by is in Fort Myers, Michigan State versus North Carolina. Um, this one I think is truly a toss-up. I'm interested to see how MSU handles UNC's bigs, but yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on MSU versus North Carolina?
Um, I'll go first because I probably Preco has a lot to say about this one. Yeah, this is probably going to be pretty fun. I'm excited to see, like you said, how MSU is going to handle their bigs. I'm excited to see how they're going to handle Caleb Wilson because Caleb Wilson is playing absolutely phenomenal. He's probably top four freshman right now. So it's really exciting to see when he plays because he can really do a lot for UNC. So really excited to see what goes on there. And yeah, if you like high level basketball, this is a game to watch.
yeah. I actually don't have a ton to say. I think I'm feeling pretty good about Michigan State in this game. So they'll inevitably lose, but defense, I think we'll be able to handle Carolina. Caleb Wilson will have a good night, but we've seen MSU play tough freshmen already with in the Arkansas game against Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. So it's they're having some experience. I'm curious to see how they handle Vasar and there's familiarity between Seth Trimble because he was on the team that bounced Michigan State in the second round a few years ago when they were a 1 seed. Um, and so I think Michigan State will be all right here and just continue to stack big wins. And they're they're going to play three blue bloods this non-conference slate. They took down Kentucky. They have Carolina on Thanksgiving, and then they have a Duke at the Breslin a little further down the line. So Tom Izzo wants to play hard games. And that's one thing that will always ring true.
Right. I think I agree with everything you guys said. I'm interested to see how MSU handles UNC's bigs. Like you said, Evan, Caleb Wilson has been phenomenal so far. And I think I'm intrigued to see how Fierce plays. If he can really command the game, like he did against Kentucky. Just he's been so impressive. If he can command the game, be right the ship, I think Michigan State has a good chance to win. So yeah, moving on to another game. One of the Blue Bloods will be playing in, like you said, Rico, Arkansas versus Duke, which was in Chicago. Really intriguing game. Both teams led by mainly their freshmen. You got Loser for Duke, Akov and Malik Thomas for Arkansas. Two teams with really, really high level athletes. What are your guys' thoughts on this one?
A lot of talent in this game. Arkansas, they were almost one of my stock picks because I think they're super talented. They've had some concern. Obviously, lost a close game to Michigan State, but the other night, who was it that they almost lost?
It was
Winthrop.
Was it Winthrop? Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winthrop.
Yeah, and then they
It was
they also
Winthrop.
had a close game against Samford. So
Sanford.
I think they're young, and I think they're kind of a team that's going to play up or play down. And against Duke, I think that works in their favor because they have the talent to play up with them. Um, they have the talent to make things very interesting with Duke. I think Duke is better, but Arkansas is so raw. Acuff and Malik Thomas can go off. I don't know. The real question will be if they can handle Cam Boozer down low, which, I mean, maybe Nick Pringle can. Brazil, maybe. We'll see. That's kind of, I think, the key standpoint for them. Make somebody else on Duke hurt you. Make Isaiah Evans have 20. Make Caleb Foster score instead of play make. Those will be the goals for them. But that should be a really fun game.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, Anthony, two teams led mainly by the freshmen, Berger, Acuff, and Thomas for Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas does have a lot of talent. Again, they have kind of been up and down. Again, they had some close games against Stanford and Winthrop, like Preco mentioned, so that's something to note. And then also when they played Michigan State, they're really having trouble with Michigan State's front court because Cam Ward had a really good game, and now they play someone that's just like 5 times better than Cam Ward and Cameron Bouger. So they're going to have their hands full with him, and I think he'll be the X factor in this game. I feel like he might feast against Arkansas, considering what Cam Ward was able to do against them. So I feel like Duke could maybe win this game by double digits against Arkansas, but don't be surprised if Arkansas keeps it a close game with their talented roster that they have.
Double digits. Feeling risky, Evan.
Hey, Duke's a good squad, good coach, good players, so
That's right.
they
Cam
definitely can
Boozer.
do it.
Like you said, Cam Boozer might feast on Feast Week. Very intriguing game. Now, the next game, last game that we're going to preview for Feast Week, UConn versus Illinois in Madison Square Garden in New York. With Scott picked against his UConn Huskies.
Wow.
Yes.
But yeah,
Did he?
he did on the
Wow.
Google sheet. He picked Illinois, but that should tell you
Insane.
a lot. But yeah, two very, very fun offenses. I think we mentioned about UConn, really super balanced, super complete. Illinois, same thing. Two really complete teams that have multiple ways to beat you. What are your guys' thoughts on UConn, Illinois?
I have to disagree with Scott. I think UConn wins. MSG, that's UConn's second home floor basically. Lot of talent on display. Illinois is super well rounded, can kind of beat you at all 5 positions. But UConn can answer. They have maybe the best starting 5 in America. Caravan has been in the big games, been in the big spots. I don't know how long is Reed hurt, or is he
But yeah,
expected
is
to
he
be
here for this
back?
game too?
I think it was just like day to day, so I think he should be back
But
for this game.
yeah, so I think especially with healthy, I'm comfortable, leaning UConn here. Which, if you're Illinois, that's another big game you're dropping. Which it's not a bad loss by any means, but you want to show your worth, and this is a team who the metrics have in like the top 10. And so yeah, I high level game, a lot at stake for both of these
Yeah,
teams, looking for big resume building, not conference wins.
Yeah, I feel like this is potentially probably maybe one of, if not the game of the week, at least the early week, UConn, Illinois. Again, yeah, two elite offenses. You have UConn, they're playing in basically their backyard in MSG, like Preco mentioned. Um, but yeah, both these teams looking for a bounce back win. They both are coming back off some losses, both at home, actually, too. So, actually,
mm-hmm.
no. Illinois was in,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago at
it was in
Wintrust.
Illinois, but still basically home court advantage. But I have to go with Preco with this one. If Taryn Reed, I honestly don't know his first name, but if he plays, I feel like he'll be a really big X factor for UConn because he's a really great player for them, and I feel like their coaching's better. Not Bobby, but Dan Hurley, who is one of, if not uh, the best coach in college basketball right now. I wouldn't say right now, but he's one of the best. So I'll probably go with UConn in this game. But yeah, these are two really fun teams. I really like this Illinois squad and their roster that they have, and I feel like they're one of the more kind of on the radar teams.
Yeah, should be super fun. I think you guys mentioned it. Illinois has so many ways to beat you, and then UConn has super complete. They have like no real big weaknesses if Terrace Reed was to play. But yeah, should be super fun. Should be super super fun. Yeah, moving on.
Anthony, I
Yeah,
have
sorry.
some breaking news before we move on.
Oh, sorry.
Cal has fired Justin Wilcox.
Wow,
Wow,
Wow.
really?
Some
that
college football breaking news. Just had to
that
educate
Two
Anthony.
two breaking
The
news segments in
yeah.
one
wow.
podcast.
That was one that I was hoping because horrible
These
loss to
new
Stanford.
feeds.
Like you should not be losing to Stanford, and they should have not dropped. They should have at least won like 8 games. I thought this season they disappointed, but especially when you have a quarterback like JKS. But
hmm
wow,
Just had to let you know. You can continue
wow,
on though.
appreciate it.
Wow, they're bowl eligible too, and he got fired.
They are, yeah, but they dropped like a game to Virginia Tech like in double overtime. They should have won, and then they lost to like San Diego State by like 30. So that's like 2 wins right there. They could have been like 8 wins already, but
And
wow.
with this ACC, they
Mhm.
could have been like competing, but
Exactly. So just beat themselves, but really intriguing. I hope they can keep JKS. I think that's the big thing, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Moving on to the last segment. I know we've running on pretty long podcast so far, but appreciate everyone for sticking it with us. Going to last segment, we're gonna pick some of these multi-team event winners. Only a handful, only four MTs we're gonna pick. We're gonna pick our champions. Starting off with the Players Era tournament. Who do you guys got winning this tournament?
Yeah,
Evan and I have
I
the
got to go
same
with the
team, so I'll
Gonzaga
let Evan.
Bulldogs.
Yep.
I got to go with them. I feel like their team, this team, I think is, if I had to say, the most complete team since that Chet Holmgren squad they had in 2021, 2022. I feel like this team's really balanced. They can score in a lot of ways. They have one of the best front courts in the country with EK and Huff. EK could be on a Player of the Year watch and a AP American watch too. So, but don't hate on those guards. Don't look out for those guards with Alabama. They could really light it up. So can't down them out. But I'm going with Gonzaga.
That opening game of Gonzaga Alabama is going to be a big one
hmm
to see who can win this tournament. But yeah,
Yeah, like I said, I also have Gonzaga, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna piggyback off Evan. I spoke a lot about Gonzaga earlier in the show,
Mhm.
so I think they're legit. Alabama's gonna be a huge test, but then afterwards they have
Yeah,
Maryland, which I think they should be able to take care of, and we'll see who they get matched up with. The other big fish in the water outside of Bama is Houston is out there too, which
right.
Gonzaga Houston would be a incredible game. So lots
Another
of opportunities
rematch.
for great games though in that event.
Hmm. Right. That would be. I agree with you guys. I think I went with Alabama just because I think I think whoever wins that Gonzaga Alabama game honestly wins is going to be the champion of this tournament, and I have Alabama winning that game. That's why I picked Alabama because, like you said, Brendon, I think Alabama has like UNLV after that, so they could very well if they beat Gonzaga, that's two wins right there, and then you're in the championship game. So that's why I went to Alabama. Two, fun guards, LeBaron Fallon, Aiden Holloway. But like you mentioned, should be a very fun tournament. You got Houston, Tennessee, St. John's. Should be a very fun tournament. The next tournament we got is the Maui Invitational. The teams in this tournament are Seton Hall, NC State, USC, Boise State, Washington, Chaminade, Arizona State, and Texas. Who do you guys got?
Yeah, so not as packed as the Maui Invitational
Mm,
as it has been years prior, but as much as I want to pick ASU to win, I unfortunately think they're not going to win. I will be rooting for them though. I did pick NC State to win. I do think they're the best team in this tournament, and I feel like they'll come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't touched on it a little bit, but with this being the Maui slate, Arizona State fan, I'm happy they're in it. But across the board, it's a weak lineup, and there's been a lot of discourse, at least on college basketball Twitter this week, about the Players Era tournaments kind of hurting these other MTEs, and the thing with the Maui one is it's so expensive. It's a logistics nightmare for the programs, and we've seen it before. Even with this and the Battle for Atlantis, where it kind of can derail teams for a couple of weeks. Just the time change. You play 3 games in 3 days, and just recovering from that. Our Anthony and I's freshman year at ASU, they played in the Battle for Atlantis and played like
mhm.
Syracuse, Baylor, and a good Loyola
Yeah.
Chicago, and
Mm.
Baylor was like top 5 that year, and Syracuse was fine, but Buddy Boeheim had like 30. They got hot, and so you lose like some close games to decent teams in Syracuse and Loyola, then you get destroyed by Baylor because Baylor was like the number one team in the country, and they came back with zero confidence. It can throw these MTEs can throw your month off and bleed into outside of those ballroom gyms. Dan Hurley voiced his complaints about it last year with UConn. So it's what's happening with these is interesting. With the players era, kind of it's stealing a lot of the best teams, but I think there's still some. It's kind of an open field in Maui at least. NC State's the favorite, but Texas is decent. USC has talent. ASU has, in my mind, so far looked good. I don't think anyone's paying attention to them, which they haven't quite earned yet. But like, I don't think they're. I think they could be a sleeper here. I think especially it's open for them to make a run to the championship if they get past Texas. But my pick here is NC State. They're the most talented team here. Will Wade is a fantastic coach. I think NC State's really good, and I think they walk away from Maui with a productive trip to the islands. So yeah.
For sure. That's a great point. You mentioned with the players era and tournament. I mean, when I think the thing I was watching a lot of these MTs so far before this upcoming week, I was like you mentioned it all, Prico. Like it's can make or break a season because like that was the one I really thought about too. Our freshman year ASU where they, like you said, they really had no confidence coming back from it. So these MTs are really important, but these MTs also could, if you're a team that maybe doesn't have high expectations, could you have a good MTE, it could really bounce back your season. I think our sophomore year, the Legends Classic, ASU they beat VCU in a tight game, and then they blew out Michigan, and that really kind of catapulted their season. And I think the same thing can happen for ASU. I'm going with ASU in the Maui Invitational. I think they have a pretty favorable side of their bracket. They have a tough opening game against Texas, but then after that, if they win that game, they'll play the winner of Washington State and Chaminade. And if they win that game, they're in the championship game. So I'm going with ASU to surprise some folks. The Maui
I like the
Invitational.
pick.
Yes, sir.
Works up.
Works
Works
up.
up.
Works up. All right, and then our second to last MT we're gonna pick. Speaking of the battle for Atlantis, it's a battle for Atlantis. The field in this the field in this MTE is Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt, VCU, South Florida, Colorado State, Virginia Tech, Wichita State, and St. Mary's. Who do you guys got?
I guess I'll go first. Um, two Ken Palm darlings. Those are my two championship picks in St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I think they'll face each other off in the championship here on Black Friday, and I think I have St. Mary's coming away with the win. If that game happens, be so excited for it. Really fun game. Hopefully it does happen. But yeah, I have St. Mary's. They've looked great so far. They'll get some of their first tests here, depending on how the bracket shakes out.
Yeah, I'm also going with St. Mary's. St. Mary's has been a very great mid-major program in the West WCC for a lot of years. They've always gave Gonzaga trouble, so they're a legit squad. And Vanderbilt is no joke either. And this would also be another actual rematch of another March Madness matchup from last year. These teams actually faced
Oh,
each other in the first round, and St. Mary's won that game. So that would be really cool if they met in the championship game. And if that were to happen, I'd probably pick St. Mary's again. Um, but yeah, that's my pick, St. Mary's. And yeah,
yeah. I think actually this tournament is actually pretty intriguing to me. You got some really fun sleeper teams. You got Colorado State, a team that um they just lost to I forgot who, but they dropped a bye game. But they've been pretty good so far, except that game. And then Virginia Tech, they took Providence to overtime. And then VCU, they just played NC State really tough in their last game. And then South Florida, they played Oklahoma State really tough. They fly up and down the court. So I think you have some really intriguing matchups. Don't be surprised if a team like VCU or South Florida or Virginia Tech eventually becomes champion in this tournament. But I'm going with Vanderbilt. I think, like you guys said, I think it's just a collision course for St. Mary's and Vanderbilt to meet in the championship. Two Ken Palm darlings, like Brendon said. They're one of my teams I have stock in, so I hope they do well, or else that won't be good for their stock. But yeah, I'm going to Vanderbilt as my champion in the battle for Atlantis. And the last tournament we're going to pick is the Rady Children's Invitational. This the teams in this field are Florida, TCU, Wisconsin, and Providence. Who do you guys got winning this MT?
I'll go
I
first.
Oh, you go
Actually,
first.
all right, I'll go first. I'll drop the bombshell. I'm going with Wisconsin. Um, I think that they will upset Florida in the championship. I don't know. I just have a feeling. Florida has been they've been decent. They've been okay. Again, their front court has been amazing. You don't need to worry about that. But Xavier Lee has been really struggling for them, and it's not even like his shooting splits are being bad. It's also like the shots he's taking. He's taking a lot of his shots from the 3 point line. I think it's like 70% of his shots are threes compared to like 40 or 30% of what it was at Princeton. So he's struggling playing up to some higher competition. We'll see if he will be able to adjust, or maybe he might get benched. So that's an issue with Florida right now. But yeah, I'm going with Wisconsin to shake some stuff up and kind of be different. I think they're going to win that championship. So
Respect the pick. Respect the pick.
I'm not different. I have Florida. I think they're okay still. I don't, and like I said earlier, I have no idea how I feel about Wisconsin. I don't think Providence or TCU are very good. I do think it'll be Florida versus Wisconsin that championship game, and I think that's a fun game. I think Wisconsin should be able to score, um, but I do have Florida. I think overall they're too big, too talented, and Xavier Lee and the guards overall, him and Boogie Flan, it's been an early season concern, but I don't see it as a major issue yet.
Right. I'm going with Brandon. Same thing. I'm being boring. I'm going with Florida. I think that was a team that I was thinking about to buy stock in just because, like you said, Evan, their guards have been a little, Saving Lee especially has been a little bit iffy to start the season, but they still have one of the best front courts in the country. Thomas Hauk has been playing like an All-American. I think, like you said, Brendan, this is going to be a collision course for Florida and Wisconsin, but I think Thomas Hauk is the best player on the floor in that instance, and I'm going with Florida. So yeah, that is all we have for you guys on today's podcast. Should be a great feast week. Um, yeah, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate everyone
Yep. Have a
tuning
great
in.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes,
Let's say
sir.
Eat
that.
lots of college basketball.
That's right. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Watch some football. I know you guys got some big wins, Lions and Seahawks.
Right. Well, it
Yes,
was a
sir.
bit too close, but yeah.
Yes, sir. The Niners play tomorrow, but watch some football, watch some college basketball. Appreciate you guys. Yes, sir.